Hi guys, my name is Minhajuddin Ansari and you're watching the 8th tutorial on C programming, and today I will be talking about the remaining two loops, the while loop and the do while loop. So first let me define my integer variable I, and this will be used as the loop variable, and I'm going to write my while loop. So this is the structure of the while loop. The condition goes in between the parentheses and it can be any relational or logical expression, and the body of the while loop is enclosed by these curly braces. So I'm going to write the condition as long as I is lesser than 10. So I want it to print my name, Minhaj, and followed by a new line, and then I want to increment the loop variable I. So one thing to keep in mind is that in the for loop, the loop variable was incremented inside the parentheses. Remember, the for loop had three parts: initialization, testing, and increment. So it was incremented in between these parentheses. But in the while loop, the loop variable is incremented or changed inside the body. Only the condition is written in between the parentheses. So what will happen is that initially the value of I is equal to 0, 0 is lesser than 10, so Minhaj would be printed in the output screen and I would be incremented. 1 is lesser than 10, Minhaj would be printed and then I would be incremented. 2 is lesser than 10 and Minhaj would be printed and then I would be incremented, and this would go on until the value of I is 10. So as soon as the value of I is 10, this condition would become false and the loop would terminate. So let me just show you the final value of the variable I. I'm going to write my printf statement, %d, and I'm going to write new line, new line, new line, just to make it easily distinguishable, final value, and I'm going to print the final value of the variable I. So when I run the program, Minhaj is going to be printed 10 times in the output screen, and the final value of I was 10, and the loop terminated when the value of I was 10. So this is the while loop. And now the third type of loop is the do while loop. And let me write the do while loop right here. It is very similar to the while loop. So, this is the structure of the do while loop. And notice that the condition goes at the end. So I'm going to write the condition I should be lesser than 10, and make sure you write a semicolon after the while statement. So you have to add a semicolon right here. So in the do while loop, the statements are executed at least once. Even if the condition is false, the statements will be executed at least once, because unlike the while loop and for loop, the condition is tested at the end. So this means that the statements inside the body of the do while loop will, every time they will be executed at least once. I'm going to give you an example of that in a moment. So first, let me just show you how the do while loop works. I'm going to add my last name right here, and I'm going to add a new line here as well. And similar to the while loop, I'm going to increment my loop variable. So this will print Ansari 10 times, and the final value of I when the loop would terminate would be 10. So when I run the program, I'm going to get Ansari printed 10 times and the final value of the variable I. So now I'm going to show you the difference between the while loop and do while loop. So what I'm going to do is that first I'm going to initialize the variable I to a very large value. Let's say I pick 5,000. And now first I'm going to write my while loop while I is lesser than 10. So this is my condition, and inside the body of the while loop I'm simply going to print my first name, and I'm going to increment my loop variable. And now right here in my do while loop, I'm going to print my last name, and again I'm going to increment the loop variable, and I'm going to write the condition while I should be lesser than 10 with a semicolon at the end. So what will happen here? Initially the value of the integer I is 5,000. So the condition in the while loop is tested first. So since 5,000 is not lesser than 10, this condition would be false and the while loop will not execute. It will automatically terminate. And now the second loop is the do while loop. And since the condition is being tested at the end, so the statements will be executed at least once. That means Ansari would be printed in the output screen and the value of I would be incremented from 5000 to 5001. And then 5001 will be tested in the loop condition. And since 5001 is not lesser than 10, the do while loop will terminate. So let me just show you the final value of I, and you would see that the final value of I is 5001. So when I run the program, I'm going to get Ansari printed at least once in the output screen, and the final value of I, which is 5001, due to the postfix increment operator right here. So this is all it about the while loop and do while loop. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section, and thanks for watching this video.